Hi everyone, welcome to Nevada Women's Film Festival bonus program. I'm Veronica Castillo, and running behind the scenes, I also have Jemsen, Yumico, Bollozos as my tech producer helping me with Eventive and Zoom. Super excited to be introducing our moderator for today. Of course, I'm talking about Dr. Addison. Dr. Heather Addison joined the Department of Film at UNLV as chair in 2016. She's a film scholar who has taught a broad range of courses in film history, criticism, and theory. She studies Hollywood's relationship to American culture and has published her work in a large number of peer-reviewed journals. So thank you, Dr. Addison, for being here, and I'll let you take over the Q&A.
I'm so happy to be here. Welcome to everyone in our audience. And I'd like to offer a very special welcome to our two guests. I'd like to start with Dominika Kulczyk, the president and founder of the Kulczyk Foundation, whose film is Stolen Dreams. So Dominika, if you could turn on your camera and your audio and say hello to everyone.
Hello,
Welcome.
everybody. I'm very happy to be here with all of you.
And I'd also like to welcome Véronique, who is here with her film, During the Day They Sing. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome.
Thank
welcome,
you, thank you.
And if it's okay, I will address both of you by your first names. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much. So we have a bit of a situation, everyone in the audience. Our first guest, Ms. Kulczyk, or excuse me, Dominika, can only be with us for a few minutes. So Véronique, if it's okay, what we normally do is intersperse our questions amongst the filmmakers, but I'm going to focus first on Stolen Dreams, and then we're going to go to your film, and we'll have plenty of time to discuss your film because we only have 15 minutes with Dominika. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Thank you. We're just trying to roll with it with last minute adjustments. So Dominika, thank you again so much for being here. I'd like to start just by asking you about the genesis of your film, Stolen Dreams, and the advocacy role you hope that it may play in the lives of women and girls.
The genesis of the film was to raise an awareness about a problem of child marriage that still affects around 45% girls in South Asia, where the rate of child marriage are the highest in the world. And child marriage is defined as a marriage of a girl or of a boy before the age of 18. Well, such marriage affects both boys and girls, but mainly girls, unfortunately. And girls are being affected disproportionately. Well, it's crucial that we become aware of that, that this phenomenon violates children's rights and places them at a high risk of violence, exploitation, and abuse in communities where this practice is taking place. Marrying a girl as little as 10, 11, 12 is a normal thing. And we can imagine what happens to such girl. She's still a child. She does not know anything about her sexuality. Well, she is too young to be pregnant without any complications, which very often lead to death. So I've got a daughter myself. She's 12. I just can't think of this happening in the world any longer. It's 21st century. And we are thinking that human rights are women's rights. Well, girls' rights are women's rights. And we have to make sure that us adults are protecting our children of the world. Girls, especially if they're abused, if they need to be protected, as they are.
Well said. And Stolen Dreams, I think very crucially, it's about the empowerment of women and girls and its importance as a driving force for transformative social change. Why is that so critical? In other words, how does helping girls and women improve life for everyone? Because the film really is very compelling about that message.
Well, I think that what is the most important message of Stolen Dreams is that girls, women, they have a voice. They tend to forget it. They are raised in a way that I think that they don't have it or they shouldn't use it. And you need to use whatever is given to you. You need to use your natural power. You need to be powerful as a girl and as a woman. And I remember one moment in one situation from the classroom during our stay in India, when we were shooting a very moving scene. A teacher was showing girls what violence means, what home abuse means, and what should they do in case it happens, that they shouldn't allow anyone to touch their bodies, to abuse them, to hurt them. And after that, we were just talking. And one girl said, I want to share something. She said, my parents wanted me to be married to an old man. And everybody was like, and well, what happened next? And she said, I said no, because this is what I want, and this is who I am. And I have my voice and I want to use it. Everybody went, overwhelmingly happy, I think. We were clapping, we were hugging her. This was a beautiful testimonial and a proof that girls, little women, they are so powerful. And let us support them to use this power. We need to do that for them, because there are incredible examples of how we should respect ourselves, and therefore how everybody should respect everybody. So yes, girls are having a voice, and I'm here to make it possible for them so they're heard.
Your foundation, you're the president and founder, the Kulczyk Foundation, really does play a leading role globally in providing sustainable humanitarian, educational, and economic support for individuals in dire circumstances. And I know that girls are one of your central foci.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see cinema as a primary means of pursuing the mission of your foundation?
I feel very privileged that I can combine two of my passions, helping and telling stories. And I really feel wonderful every single time when I'm being welcomed by people who are just like a phoenix. They always rise up again, although they've gone through hell very often. And they share their life with me by sharing their stories. And every time when I feel that they allow me into their lives and they give me this huge gift of their truth, I should do something for them, something more than just taking their voice and let the world hear it. So we do both. We help and we tell stories. And I think stories are having magnificent power. Don't you think so? I think every single sentence we say to everyone is impactful, as long as it comes from the heart, as long as this is your truth, as long as it's said with love. Things are changing right away. So I really deeply believe, and I always did, that stories are changing what we think, what we feel, what we do. So therefore, they are changing our reality, the reality of the people around us. They have a power to change the whole world.
Stories change our reality. I think that's a really profound insight. And I'm wondering, like, how does your foundation, like, how does it identify and develop the documentary projects that it supports? And for our student filmmakers in the listening now, do you accept proposals from emerging filmmakers?
Well, I'm very open to all of those wonderful ideas which are coming over to me, obviously. And I'm more than happy if I can inspire or support a creative process. The way we do it is we first choose a social problem which we want to address. And then we are researching. So we need to first understand where are these places where this problem is appearing very strongly. After knowing that, we are choosing NGOs, which are also us caring, and they want to do something about this certain issue. Recently, I'm focusing on women and to be specific, period poverty. But women, this is my driving force, definitely. And every time we know what we want to talk about, we know where then we need to go. We know who in this very place is addressing this issue. Then we get in touch with the NGOs, and this is how it all starts. We are talking about a project. What can we do for these people? And we are asking who can we talk to? So these people who we are talking to, they're always beneficiaries of our projects. So I always feel double happy, not only being, given by them this beautiful insight into their lives, but being able to give them something what we can give, a project, something what they can use.
You identify a social issue, then you connect with NGOs or non-governmental organizations that are working on that issue in the country that you've identified. Is that how you met Dr. Ashok Dixit? Like, because he's such an interesting individual and has this long track record of really improving lives for adolescent girls. Can you tell us a little bit more about him and the IMHP?
Well, Dr.
IHMP, sorry, IHMP, Institute for Health Management, Pashad, I believe.
Yes. Well, Dr. Ashok is this amazing human being. And what is so moving and profound that he is, with all his heart, doing whatever he possibly can for women, being a man. So he is this beautiful example of a modern feminist, a man who is highly aware how important women are, how important their well-being is, how crucial that is for the future of the world, for the woman to be recognized as the most important, maybe, for humankind to not only survive, but to thrive. So when I met him, we had this instant connection. And well, he never really planned to do whatever he's doing now, but thanks God at one point, he felt that this is what he needs to do, to take care of girls, to make them aware of their rights, and to take care of their health once they are pregnant, if they are pregnant. And he said this beautiful thing. He said, we don't need to give a girl power or freedom. She owns that. She is that. We only can't take it away. Well, wow, profound.
Very
I
profound.
hold this sentence there, really. And it is always my driving force whenever I, don't believe enough in us, in girls, in women. Dr. Ashok also said another wonderful thing, because my documentary series is called Domino Effect. And I've been traveling around the world for the last 8 years, shooting 64 documentaries so far.
Oh my God.
Short films. Yeah, they are shown
fantastic.
in Polish TV, in Discovery, also in CNN. So, well, he said, look, when we got in touch and I asked you for support, you said yes. Then it started a domino effect, because we haven't had any other donor. But after first donation, we suddenly started having so many donors, even before the movie was on air. So he said, well, I think domino effect, this is a phenomena which is pretty efficient.
May I ask, I know I only have a couple more minutes with you because
Yeah.
I've got to go. But something that came to mind for me, I so appreciate what Dr. Ashok has done for young girls. Has he, like, as he looks at adolescent girls and their development, has he tried to address the issue, or can he, of sexual orientation? You know, aside from presuming that all girls are hetero and will marry and have children, and maybe just trying to push that to a later age, like what's his stance on that, or what has been his outreach regarding that issue?
Honestly speaking, I don't know. We haven't talked about that. So
Would
that
that
wouldn't
perhaps,
be,
would it be too
that wouldn't be
controversial for,
serious
yeah,
for
would it,
me to say something about what he thinks about it.
would it be too controversial for Indian culture at this time for him to kind of try and address that? Because that tells us a lot about where Indian culture is in terms of its openness on that issue. So I don't know if you can say a word about that, or if you'd like to.
Well, I can't really say much about what people in India really think about sexuality in terms of sexual orientation. I don't know enough about it. And I definitely saw that Dr. Ashok was not talking about it. Well, I don't want to say that he wouldn't be ready for that. He's so open-minded, and what is
I
more
felt
important,
that too.
open-hearted.
Yeah.
Open-hearted is what is even more precisely describing his attitude to everyone. But I just think that would be too soon, probably. I think that he fully understands the Indian culture and Indian people, and I think he wants to respect the dynamic of what needs to happen when. And I think that he just deeply knows that whatever he's doing is what he needs to do, what he can do, what he is prepared to do. And I think he's very responsible, so he wouldn't reach for any other issues he wouldn't be prepared to face. So that'll be my answer.
I think it's really an excellent point, because what we're reminded of again and again is we can't necessarily understand a situation if we're not part of that context. And so it can be very difficult as outsiders for us to understand. And that's why films like this are so important, because they give us a way into connecting with and having empathy with people who are having experiences very different from our own. So I just want to, it's 1:10 now, and I know you have to depart. I just want to thank you not only for this film, Dominika, but for all the work that your foundation is doing on behalf of women and girls across the world. So thank you so much for your advocacy and your support. And
thank you so much for having me here. And thank you for, well, hearing and seeing whatever needs to be heard and seen. I think we should remember, we girls, women, we have a voice, and we need to use it for everybody's sake, for the better world.
Beautifully said. Thank you very much, and best wishes.
Thank you very much.
Always. Thank you.
Farewell. All the best. Thank you very much. Thank
Farewell.
You.
And Véronique, are you there? Hello, hello. Ah, yes, there you are. Thank you for accommodating that. So now I would like to turn our focus to During the Day They Sing. If you don't mind, I'd actually like to begin the same way that I began with Dominika. Can you talk about the genesis of your film and the advocacy role you hope that it may play?
Yes, my first language is French, so I will try to be as clear as possible. In 2013, I used to live there with my husband and 3 children on this little island, and I've met those women at that time. And about 7 years later, we've been back. So I'm now in Dakar, Senegal, and I begin to think about
a movie because I saw all the, how can I say that? I was impressed by all the courage of those women. They have sometimes 5, 6, 7 children. Their husbands are out of the island because there's no work for them. And so I wanted to show how powerful are those women despite of their daily task. So that's the genesis of the idea.
That's excellent, and that answers a couple of questions that I was going to ask you. So well done. And I think also in the same way that Stolen Dreams makes the point that empowering women is transformative for all. So from your perspective, how does, empowering women change life for everyone?
Yes, those women, they with the seashells, every day they are going in the sea to take the seashell, and they get it back to home and they transform it with their little children, and they are trying to build their own economy, about 20 women together, and they strongly believe that their life can change. It's really hard because there's no running water over there. Sometimes there's no electricity, and so they strongly believe that if they work hard, their life could change. And the thing is, the big thing is their girls and their sons, they leave home very soon to fly or to go by boat, by canoe to Spain, France, and Italy to find work. And their girls are going to Dakar to do householding, and so by doing this work, those women are convinced that they will succeed to get their girls, their daughter and their son back. So that's why they are so motivated to go to the sea every day. Sometimes they leave at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they during the winter here it's cold, not as cold as in Canada, but it's cold. And they have to do it, and they have to sell it, they have to transform it, and they do not ask themselves question, should I go? They are going every day. So I wanted to put the light on those women, not on the dark side because it's really difficult over there, but on the sunny side. When I see those women, when they are out of their family together, they sing, and it's like all the energy they can take, they can bring it back home when the day is finished, to see their children again at night.
And that's an interesting point, because the title of your film is During the Day They Sing. So can you tell us a little bit more about the songs that the women sing, and why you think that the title might capture the essence of the film?
Yeah, during the day they sing, that means that at the moment they leave their home, at the moment they leave their children, they leave hard tasks, they get together, friends together, and And at that moment, there's something powerful that is created. It's like they told me, it's like they forget the difficult part of their lives. They don't forget their husband left or their son left, but during the day with their friends, it's like an escape moment where they can live strong moment and happiness. And the meaning of their songs, it's simple. It's they sing the joy they have to find those seashells, to give them money and that permits them to live. It's like they thank every day the sea to give them that treasure.
Thank you so much. And I always forget to say this, but if anyone in our audience has a question or comment, post it in the Eventive chat. We're happy to get those and to address them. So Véronique, I would like to quote the narration because you are the narrator. That's correct. You wrote and you performed the narration. Okay, so by observing each of your rhythmic and tirelessly linked movements, and that's you referring to the women, I wondered about my very Western quest to search for meaning, for recognition, and for fulfillment at work. So this narration emphasizes the individual values that tend to dominate in Europe and the West, which may undermine or erode social ties versus the solidarity in this Senegalese village. So what do you see as the advantages and disadvantages of each?
I can begin with the advantages of what I saw from the work of those women. When I saw them every day leaving their homes, going together to get seashells, they are not trying to get more than the other friends next to them. I saw them helping each other, and and the amount of seashell is separated in equal parts after, and it's like every woman is not working just for her, and you're right. I made a parallel with my society, the other society. Everybody, we put emphasis of what each is able to give. The more, how can I say this? By working one by one, we are putting an X on the plus value of working together. And as everybody wants to upgrade the scale of the organization, the common work is not as valuated as in the West Africa society. I don't know if I'm clear. It's a bit hard in English to express, but by working together, the women after are proud. They are creating a common economy, and I see the changes in their village. The kids are able to get dressed to go to school. They are able to get the books, to get all the stuff that is needed at school. And it's because the women work together. They are not looking for their own success.
That's beautifully expressed, actually. And it brings me to another question. So it feels like this film, it's more than simply about solidarity. It's about female solidarity in the context of male absence. So here's another quote from the narration. "The women in front of me are united, proud, and more determined than ever." So in your view, how does the dynamic that these women have differ from the kind of solidarity that might have emerged if men were present and participating?
In those communities, the feminine solidarity is very important because, for example, the seashell collecting is an activity that only the women can do. It's for women.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and the women in those communities do not have a large place of speaking, of their voice is not so important compared to men's voice. So as those women are building their little economy with seashell collecting, they are giving, they are building their voice. As the men are, they are seeing the women being stronger in this economy, and that's why women are getting more importance of their voice. We are, I see the changes now. They can take part of the village decision because they recognize that they have power in the village economy. So things are going to change in the next years.
So these shellfish processing units, the one that the village has, it's critical. It becomes a focal point of village life.
Yes.
And there's a reference at one point in the film to where we don't know who came up with this idea, but I wondered if you knew, because I was very curious about that. And also, how much do these units cost? How are they acquired? And how difficult are they to set up? Like, how did they make this happen?
Those units are from a Canadian project.
Oh.
The construction of the units were built from the funds of Canadian project from the Cégep de la Gaspésie et des Îles. And this organization is supporting those women building this small economy. Before those units, women were transforming the seashell at home, and it was hard to sell those seashells dried because of the problems of salubrity. With those units, now the big restaurant in Dakar can buy with confidence those seashells at a higher price. So that improved a lot the life of women since a few years in those islands.
So who's buying the seashells? Who are their clients?
Yeah, it can be a restaurant from Dakar. It can be just women who in the village next to those communities who buy seashells. But the seashells are traveling all around Senegal and sometimes out of Senegal. When it's dry, it can be sold even out of Senegal.
So let me make sure I'm understanding what is being sold. These look like clams, right? And they're being sold to be eaten. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
just
like,
checking, because some of them were open and looked like they could almost be, but I assume those would be discarded or maybe not.
I didn't understand the last question.
So as they're gathering the shellfish or the clams, it looks like some of them are closed and some are open. So in the processing, are they trying to like only keep the ones that are closed, or are they trying to, how are they doing?
No,
Are they?
no, they cook it, and
Ah,
after they shake it in a machine that was brought by the Canadian project, and that help to open it, and after to take it off and to dry it with the sun. And when it's perfectly dry, it can be put in bags with the packaging, and after it can be sold.
aha, okay. That
Yeah.
solves a mystery. And actually now I could bring up something that makes, I will admit, Véronique, makes me a little anxious. So one of the things the film talks about is climate change, you know, and the men have left because farming and fishing are now more difficult. And like this processing unit is helping for now, but I'm like thinking, I'm worried for the future of the village and these women. How long is the sea going to provide this bounty that they need? Is there
Yes.
any sense that, you know, what they're harvesting or what they're able to find is declining, you know, on an annual or, you know, every 5 years basis?
Yeah. Naturally, those women noticed that there's less seashell in the sea. They naturally decided to put in a repos. How do we say? To do not touch, do not go to the sea, for example, for 3 months per year, to let the seashell reproduire.
A rest period or a fallow
Yes,
period?
a
Yes.
rest period. Yeah, and with biologists, they discussed with them, and they discovered that their decision of putting in a rest the sea for a few months help a lot to keep those resources alive. And yeah, there's a lot of climate changes that it's not guaranteed that in 10 years it will be okay, but those resources are followed by scientists, and everything is done to prevent the loss and the disappearance of seashells.
Fantastic. Okay, so I think this brings me to, I asked you about the shellfish processing units. I don't know if this question is moot at this point, because you choose to narrate the film as a Westerner who, as you say, first set foot in Africa 6 years ago. And now you've kind of explained that context. You were there with your family in 2013, and then you returned to do this film. So I was going to ask you to explain your connections to Africa, but I am still kind of curious, like, why did you choose that rhetorical framing for the documentary? Because you're kind of talking about the subjects in the third person. Like, why was that your choice, as opposed to, you know, potentially just letting them, you know, like interviewing them and they're on camera and you spend a lot of time at the end really presenting each subject, you know, with a beautiful image and name. So how did you choose the rhetorical frame for your documentary?
Yes, it was a question for me. I didn't know how to present it first, and finally I've decided to use the line of how did I first react when I met them for the first time, and what have I discovered when I met them, as I spend a lot of time with them, and I continue to spend time with them, and I thought it would be interesting to present my point of view coming from far away, and my vision of this meeting with them. That's the way I saw it, because I was first, when we get in Africa, in West Africa, it's easy to see how hard life is in town or in the countryside. But despite the difficulties, I wanted to put an accent of what impressed me and what I found so much beautiful, and I wanted to show this instead of all the dark parts that affect me as well. Yes, that's the angle I wanted to show first.
Yeah, I felt it, it was a very honest approach, almost like a scientific researcher kind of like declaring openly what their position or their bias might be. And it created a dynamic where it felt that you were very quietly respectful of your subjects. And I know that's a constant tension for documentarists, because of course without a subject, there is no film. So in a way, the very foundation of the relationship can have a tinge of exploitation, whatever the subject is, and how to negotiate that. And I felt like it was a very honest and open method that you chose. And you don't sensationalize or exoticize your subjects. You're very respectful. And I think that part of that is you kind of came across as a partner in telling the story who was willing to reveal a bit about yourself. Can you, maybe reveal a bit more, how did you end up in West Africa in 2013? You said you were with your husband and family. How did you take that, as a family, how did you take that decision to go to West Africa at that time?
Yeah, my husband is part of this organization, Cégep de la Gaspésie, the Canadian project.
The processing units, yes.
And I had those 3 little babies at that time. So I was bringing those children with me at the unit and discussing with women. And at that time, I was just impressed of how courageous they were to go to the sea every day at 5, 6, and come back at home and finishing their day at 10, 11 p.m. And as a mother, I was like in connivence with them and wanted to share their life. So I was in their daily life, eating with them, playing with their children. And for me, it was really important to show the world that somewhere in a little community very far from Dakar, we have to go to get the taxi, to get the canoe to get there. It's really far, but women are really courageous, and they need all the respect, and I think we have to see what they do, and what they are fighting for. And never I was wondering about the title. I choose during the day they sing, but those women are never crying, never, never, never. We never see a woman of those village crying. Why? If they cry, because they have reason to cry. If they cry, they are alone in their room, but never in front of nobody. So I was a bit confused about the title at the beginning because it's true that they don't cry. It's different from our society, but I think that's another part of why they are so strong. They don't want their children to see that they think it's difficult because they are fighting every day.
For me, another important thing your film does is like remind us, because we all have different kinds of privilege, whatever our position in life, things that are struggles for us, things that advantages that we get. But I think sometimes people who grow up with relative material wealth, whether that's in the middle or upper class, like in the United States, we can have this maybe unspoken assumption that in extreme poverty, life is just difficult and sad. But what you are capturing is that the richness, the beauty, the courage, that's there that's in any place. And in this particular group of women is so inspiring for what they've been able to do communally, and the specificity of their story and the joy and beauty of what they've accomplished in difficult circumstances, I think is really important, for audiences to see. Oh, I'm getting a please wrap it up message. I'm sorry, we've got to end in 1 minute. I'm sorry, Véronique. I'm getting into it now. I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to go to you as the filmmaker. You should have the final word. Would you like to add anything?
Yes. What I can say is everywhere, I think what is underestimated is the power of the women. And sometimes it's hidden by their heavy task. But if we just look and listen, every woman, even if in our society, they have something very strong in her. And we just need attention, to pay attention to see it. But every woman has this power. I'm convinced.
Inspiring words. Thank you for those words. And thank you so much for your film, Véronique. I love it. And I look forward to your future work. And I just want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing a bit of your perspective on your film with us here at the Nevada Women's Film Festival 2021.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and farewell.
Okay.
Farewell for now,
Okay.
and farewell everyone in our audience. Thank you for being with us.